Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great myself, but at the same time, finals are kind of destroying me right now, which is why there's been a major slowdown in content. But not only that, I also just haven't had much to talk about recently. Obviously, the CMA denied the Microsoft acquisition, but a lot of the talk about that is on Twitter, and I don't do Twitter content. So I'll keep my eyes open for anything that comes up on YouTube. But luckily, DreamcastGuy has blessed us with some content in the meantime. Now, like with most DreamcastGuy videos, we're not going to watch the entire thing. I'm gonna cut it up because a decent amount of it is filler. But I need to say this before we get into the video. In this video, DreamcastGuy talks about a tweet that somebody made. Now, this tweet, while it is technically true, it's also weird that it would even be put out because it's talking about a document back from October and he's now choosing to say, oh, Sony's getting exposed badly. So don't get me wrong, I think the tweet is definitely weird, the timing is weird, whatever. And I'm not gonna be defending that. But what I am going to call out is the fact that DreamcastGuy claims towards the end of the video that exclusives are not anti-consumer. And he says that basically Sony doesn't actually have exclusivity contracts or something. I don't know. It's really confusing. My head kind of hurt while getting the clips for this. So without further ado, why don't we just go ahead and get right into this?
But today, there is a very strange set of viral tweets that are just completely wrong. The Xbox side of Twitter is claiming that PlayStation is forbidding people from working with Xbox. And it's so stupid, I kind of want to just dig into where this misinformation specifically came from.
I mean, I don't know how this is misinformation. It's very clear that when Sony signs an exclusivity contract, they are not allowing people to work with Xbox and put the games on Xbox. And don't give me the whole, oh, well, the companies are agreeing to it, like Square Enix is, agreeing to work with Sony only. If it's a third-party company, the exclusivity stuff should not be allowed. That goes both ways. When Microsoft does it, it's scummy, and when PlayStation does it, it's scummy. However, at least Microsoft will allow the games to be on PC as well. Sony makes you wait like a year or two. But again, like I said in the intro, yeah, this tweet was kind of weird, the timing and all, but I don't see how this is misinformation necessarily either. I mean, can anybody name a game where Sony made it exclusive and then they ported it to Xbox later on? Yes, they've ported their games to PC later on, but have any of them, like Bloodborne or Final Fantasy or anything, actually come to Xbox? And even if they have, they take years.
So, I've seen multiple of these today, big, ridiculously viral tweets. This has thousands of likes in just the first couple hours, but it says this: Sony is getting exposed badly. Already, this guy definitely sounds like he is tweeting this while crying. Sony restricts companies from working with Xbox. These are third-party deals. Jim Ryan is doing all that crying, though saying that Microsoft will be unfair. Clown emoji. Oh man, when that deal goes through, we will be laughing.
I just wanted to leave this clip in just so I could show him reading out the tweet. Again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but yes, it's a weird tweet. This would have made so much more sense if this was tweeted a little while ago, especially given the document was posted on Halloween of 2022. I don't know if I'd necessarily say this guy was crying though, but he definitely seemed like he woke up and was feeling a little extra aggressive against PlayStation. Like, I don't know why you would just randomly bring this up like 6 months after it happened. And honestly, if DreamcastGuy had just said, dude, these are old documents, why are you getting so hung up on this? He would have a point, and I would not be making this video. But obviously, I'm making this video for a reason. Let's go ahead and find out why.
This is just a complete out-of-context screenshot that says, players should not expect Final Fantasy XVI to be on any Xbox Series X or the Xbox One. The reason is a weird one. In an ongoing conflict between Sony and Microsoft, it's been revealed in this legal documentation that Sony has signed deals with third-party developers to stop them from working with Microsoft specifically.
I mean, I don't see what's so wrong with this, though. That is what happened, is it not? Sony pays developers and publishers to not put their games on Xbox, and as a result, those developers and publishers, at least for that one game, will not work with Microsoft. I will admit, though, the tweet is disingenuous disingenuous in the fact that this is taken from some article, and the document they're referencing is the Microsoft document, where Microsoft is saying, hey, Sony is buying exclusivity rights to these games, and the developers aren't allowed to work with us because of that, or they're not allowed to put their games on our platform because of that. So it's not like it's Sony saying, yeah, we did this. It's Microsoft saying, hey, they're doing this. But even if it's not coming from Sony, it's still true, and I think everybody knows this. Just because Sony doesn't come out and directly admit to it doesn't mean it's not true. So I guess you could say, yeah, the article and the tweet were worded poorly, but they're still not wrong necessarily. I don't know, it's just really weird. They're not wrong that Sony is paying to keep the games off of Xbox, but at the same time, the way they word it makes it seem like Sony came out and admitted that, oh yeah, we signed these deals and stuff. It's really weird, but luckily DreamcastGuy is about to get a lot weirder about it. I know this first part is really confusing, but trust me, it'll get way clearer later on.
Square Enix has permission to work with others. Presumably this would be after a 6-month exclusivity period, but Microsoft and the Xbox is off limits. Now, this person clearly is not actually reading this wording. This person is kind of just taking bits of it and sort of projecting their own emotion onto it. Somebody thankfully did a nice reading comprehension breakdown for those who are not exactly good with perhaps English. Presumably, Xbox details of this exclusion are not clear yet. Sony likely may. Now, there's a reason this person has underlined all the maybe words. It's because this is very much this personal author's speculation.
I mean, is it really though? Because again, okay, you know, let's just say that Final Fantasy VII won't be exclusive to PS5 forever and it will come to Xbox. When exactly is that happening? How long has it been? Like 2 years and still nothing? Sorry, actually 3 years. So while there's been no official declaration about like Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity or anything like that, it's very clear based on the past that it's either not coming to Xbox at all or it's going to be coming in a few years. God, this is so annoying because this is all like technicality stuff. It's like, oh, well, technically we don't have the details for this specific game. Yeah, you're right, but at the same time, where the hell is the Xbox port of the game? Again, just because they don't come out and specifically say, oh, this is going to be forever exclusive to PlayStation, that doesn't mean it isn't true. God, this video is taking me so much longer to record than my other videos because I have to process so much information. It's so confusing. Like, okay, we don't know the specific details of this port, but look at the other games. It's pretty obvious that this game is either not coming to Xbox or it's going to be several years. Either way, incredibly anti-consumer. This is like saying that because Microsoft never said that Scorn would never come to the PS5, that means that they're excused. It's still exclusivity. Whether it's timed or not, it's still exclusivity. And exclusivity will always be anti-consumer.
And a lot of this is the author's own assumptions. Like even this, we don't know about an exclusivity contract. And I also decided to go a step further and actually dig up this legal document that all these Xbox people are quoting. This is the actual legal document. I pulled it up just to do the bare minimum. Xbox Twitter, do the bare minimum with your weird, cringy gotcha tweets. Here it is.
I'm not gonna cut him reading the article or anything, I'm just gonna speed it up. But again, this is like me saying, oh, well, you don't know that Scorn is exclusive to the Xbox forever. Microsoft never directly said that. That's just your presumption. You see what I mean? It's really stupid. But yeah, let's just go ahead and speed him up reading this out. I'm not trying to keep you guys here all day.
So here, literally here, 3.6, I literally pulled up, this is the exact one you see, it says right here, 3.67, this is the exact section of this 50-page legal document, I'm sorry, 100-page legal document on page 63 here, and it says this, no, this is written by Microsoft, this is not being written by Sony, it's being written by Xbox themselves. Exclusivity strategies are not uncommon in the gaming industry, and other market participants have access to their own content. Both Sony and Nintendo's exclusive first-party games rank among the best-selling when it comes to first-party stuff. Obviously, Sony has things like The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, and Spider-Man. In addition to having outright exclusive content, Sony has entered into arrangement with third-party publishers that require the exclusion of Xbox to form, from the set of platforms these publishers can distribute their games. Some prominent examples of these include Final Fantasy VII Remake, Bloodborne, which is from Software, the upcoming Final Fantasy 16, and even things like Silent Hill 2 Remastered. Nintendo's exclusive content is well-established, globally famous, and iconic franchises like Mario, Zelda, Xenoblade, and Pokemon.
Now tell me what's so wrong with this. I mean, are they wrong? Yes, Nintendo and Sony have their own first-party exclusives, so does Microsoft. This is how things normally work. That is normal. First-party exclusives are not a problem, as long as they come to PC as well, but anyway. But then, as Microsoft points out, Sony is then also signing deals to make third-party games exclusive. They are paying developers who they do not own, and they're basically saying, here's some money, now don't release this on Xbox. So how is DreamcastGuy gonna make this seem like a good thing? Let's go ahead and find out.
Anybody who is able to grasp even the most basic sense of English can see that what they're actually saying here is that Sony is basically, to some degree, helping this stuff even exist. A lot of times these people are getting extra Sony employees, extra development time, extra bits of funding to make sure the marketing budgets are handled. In the cases of everything shown here, these are not just tiny exclusives, these are games that Sony is partially helping create to sell them on PlayStation.
My guy, Final Fantasy 16 would exist without Sony's exclusivity deal. The only difference is now it will not exist on Xbox, at least not for a few years, and same with PC probably for like a year or so. This game would have existed without Sony. Now, Sony's first-party games, obviously those would not exist without them, but when Sony is helping with development, it just means they're helping optimize for the PlayStation a little bit better. Now, if Sony wants to help with development to make the PlayStation version better, but also still have the game release on Xbox and PC, then no problem, right? They're going out of their way to send in some employees to make sure the game is as good as possible on their platform, but it's still coming to the other platforms. No problem with that whatsoever. But the catch to Sony sending in their developers and giving them some extra money and stuff is, hey, it's only allowed on our platform for at least a year or two, nobody else. And that is what the problem is. Now, if Sony owns Square Enix, then sure, no problem. It's their own studio. But once you say, here's some money, here's some developers, now give the game only to us, that's a problem.
These people are treating it like this ridiculous gotcha. Like, first of all, this contract is from literally 6 months ago. I don't know why this is randomly being pulled out now, but it's an exclusivity deal that actually works, basically saying, if we build something for the PlayStation 5, we want it to be best and on the PlayStation 5 for as long as possible.
And off of Xbox and PC for at least a year, because screw those guys. Just buy a PlayStation, Lamau. But again, like I said earlier, I do agree. I don't know why this guy brought this up now of all times. Definitely really weird, but whatever, let's keep going.
Some of these games that Square Enix have been working on have already been coming to the Xbox. I mean, what about frickin' Final Fantasy Crisis Core? What about Diafield Chronicle? It's basically, this is a thing where legally Microsoft is pointing out the fact that the things that companies work together with Sony on, yeah, they're not going to later port them to Xbox. Or if they do port it, it's going to be pretty far down the road.
So you just admitted that they're either not going to port the game to Xbox at all, or it's going to be ported very far down the road, and yet you still called the tweet misinformation, even though you just confirmed what was being said was true. It's either not coming to Xbox, or it's coming in a very long time. What happened to, oh, nothing specific has been said yet? You know, you don't know if it's going to be exclusive forever. That's all gone now, I guess. Also, guess what? Games like Crisis Core came to the Xbox day one because Sony didn't pay for exclusivity, which is the entire point of this. These games would exist and come to Xbox if it wasn't for Sony's interference. And that is the whole problem. How do you not understand this?
But this is such a weird take to assumedly act like somehow this is showing that Sony is trying to hurt other companies. Like, this restricts other companies from working with Xbox. There's a reason they only give one example, and it's Square Enix. It's because there are no other examples.
You literally read off Bloodborne in the document from earlier. Sony was restricting FromSoft from working with Xbox. They would not allow an Xbox or PC port of the game. You also listed off the Silent Hill 2 remake. My guy, you literally just read these off a few minutes ago. What are you talking about? There are other examples besides Square Enix. You yourself read them off. Oh my god, dude. Do you not watch these videos back? Or do you just not care? It has to be one of the two.
That's what it is. In fact, a lot of people are actually replying to this and saying, what the heck? So Square Enix is agreeing to this deal. It's not like Square Enix is having their arms bent. A lot of people are actually pointing out, okay, so other people also have exclusivity contracts. Like, okay, Kenna Bridge of Spirits was exclusive. Almost every single reply is talking about the fact that there's just nothing to expose here. This is counter bidding. This is very basic business. A lot of people, though, are talking about even stuff like this. The last case of Benefit Fox. Like, there are games that are also exclusive to the Xbox that are being paid to be on Xbox and not coming to PlayStation.
Yes, and it's not okay when Xbox does it either. Trust me, I can keep that same energy. It is not okay when any company pays for third-party exclusives. And like I said earlier, just because Square Enix agrees to the deal doesn't mean it's a good thing. Just like how when Scorn's developers decided to make it Xbox exclusive because Microsoft approached them about it, that was not okay either. These types of deals should not be allowed, period. Microsoft shouldn't be allowed to make them, Sony should not be allowed to make them, and Nintendo should not be allowed to make them. But last I checked, I'm pretty sure Sony does it way more and with way bigger games, which is why they come under fire for it so much more.
I mean, one of my favorite games of all time, one of the biggest Steam Deck games ever, is freaking obviously Vampire Survivors. This game is so addictive, it's so fun, and it's not on PlayStation. This game is so basic, they could probably port it to PlayStation in a weekend, but it's not. It's almost if Microsoft paid to keep this as a Game Pass exclusive because it's a gigantic W for them. I've played so many hours of this on my Xbox and so many hours of it on Steam Deck because it's a great game that wisely they locked down.
Yes, and the only people who are celebrating the fact that it got locked down is the Xbox fanboys. Vampire Survivors being exclusive to Xbox does not benefit anyone. No reasonable person is saying, oh, it's a good thing that Vampire Survivors is exclusive. Just like no reasonable person is saying that Final Fantasy 16 being exclusive is a good thing. Third-party exclusives are objectively bad for consumers, and no company should be allowed to do them. But just wait, guys, we're about to get to the real kicker. This is what I was talking about at the very beginning of the video. Remember what I said was going to happen at the very end? Say the line, Dreamcast guy.
This is not anti-consumer. This isn't predatory. There isn't anything being deeply uncovered in these legal documents. Tweets like this are just so baffling to me because it just shows this weird emotional misunderstanding. Nobody is attacking the Xbox. Nobody in the media is biased towards PlayStation.
Apparently, exclusives are not anti-consumer. I think I could just end the video right there, honestly, because that's basically the end. Oh, also, you know, Dreamcast guy saying that nobody is biased towards PlayStation. My guy, are you serious? You have a bunch of videos calling out Xbox fanboys, but do you have a single one calling out PlayStation fanboys? Especially since they're way more prominent? No, I didn't think so. So yeah, I think that basically speaks for itself, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end the video right here. So yeah, basically what we learned today is exclusives are not anti-consumer, and Dreamcast guy is a complete hypocrite. Well, I mean, I guess we kind of knew both those things, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.